All right, welcome to the last lesson in Outcome 1. We started with elements and molecules and talked about how matter cycles and why the cycles matter. And we have arrived at biodiversity, and we're going to look at how humans, just one of the species in every single ecosystem, how we impact biodiversity. Okay, you should have some guided notes. These might be a little lengthy today, but they are followed by a really interesting project that I hope you'll have a lot of fun with. So, as we know, biodiversity is important for all ecosystems on Earth, and unfortunately, it is threatened by many human activities. So the guiding question today, maybe it was pretty obvious, is how do humans impact biodiversity? In positive ways and in negative ways. There's a lot of focus on the negative things that we do, but this project should hopefully highlight some of the positive things that people are doing worldwide and give us all some hope as well. So if we wanted to look at the definition of biodiversity, this is the variety of life on Earth at all levels. This should include plants, animals, other organisms found in one area, or across different ecosystems. So 5 of the biggest threats to biodiversity can be summed up in an acronym HIPPO, and these include H for habitat loss, I for invasive species, P for pollution, another P for population growth, and here we really want to specify population growth of humans, and O for overharvesting. Okay, if we can understand these threats, we might be able to help develop ways to decrease the negative impact that we're having on the Earth. So first of all, habitat loss. Habitat is a place where an organism lives, and that's where they find their food, water, and shelter. An example of a habitat is a forest, a grassland, wetland, ocean. Most of us are familiar with that. When habitats are lost or destroyed or degraded, even divided up into smaller parts through human activities, maybe we make a road through a rainforest. This divides up that habitat, and that can change how the living things in that ecosystem can function. Okay? Sometimes this makes it difficult for them to survive and maintain their populations. So think about a few ways that we might cause habitat loss. I just mentioned the building of roads, but what else do we do that causes habitat loss? I for invasive species. These are non-native species that are brought into an area, and they are named invasive when they kind of take over. So they're technically organisms that spread into and harm a habitat where they weren't originally from, so non-native. Okay, these may outcompete or kill local species. They could be introducing disease or parasites. They might change the characteristics of the habitat. They kind of offset the balance of it, and they disrupt ecological processes. Here we see a Japanese beetle. It's obviously from Japan. It's a beautiful insect. Does crazy amounts of damage to our crops and our vegetation in Illinois. These are often spread by human activities. We are often the ones moving the invasive species around in the world. And we do this intentionally and unintentionally. So can you think of some ways that humans might introduce invasive species? How might this Japanese beetle have arrived in the United States? Pollution. We all know what pollution is, but there are lots of different examples of pollution. Trash, chemicals, even noise or light pollution can impact the atmosphere and the habitats that organisms live in. They can poison living organisms. They poison us. They disrupt development or prevent communication. Pollution is generated by all sorts of different ways. Factories, power plants, our vehicles and transportation that we use, farming practices, all of the trash that we produce. Okay, so what are some pollutants that we already actively try to reduce on a daily basis? Well, I'm going to add to that. Which ones could we do a better job on? All right, the second P is population growth, and we're gonna point a finger at the humans here, because in 2000 we had roughly 6 billion people on Earth, and by 2050 it's projected that we will be a population of 9.8 billion. Okay, humans use land and atmosphere space to build houses, buildings, and bridges. And we also use a ton of natural resources, right? The food and water and materials that other species rely on. We disrupt their habitat, we kind of encroach on their space and their resources that they need for survival. So we really need to keep our own population growth in check before we eliminate other species. Okay, so think about why the human population has never stopped growing. What is it about the humans that we haven't really seen a cap on our population size yet? It's an interesting question to ponder. All right, the last one is overharvesting. This is basically harvesting resources like logs or fish or any kind of natural resource or organism faster than it can be replenished. Okay, so yes, trees can grow back, but if we chop them down too quickly and don't plant enough to restore that forest, then we will run out. Examples of this are overfishing, deforestation, poaching. This is like poaching lions or rhinoceroses or elephants, wildlife trafficking. This significantly decreases species population size and can even make it go extinct. When you take a species out of the ecosystem, this is going to disrupt the food web and ecological processes. Symbioses are broken down, and this makes it harder for ecosystems to function the way that they have become accustomed to. So, other than trees, what could we be overharvesting? What are some things that we are consuming at a faster rate than are being replenished? Think about that a second. All right, in this project, you and a partner are going to work together. You're going to watch a maybe 10, 15, 20-minute clip video on some case study about an ecosystem or an organism that was threatened or endangered or maybe being hurt by human activities, but the humans around it took note and did something to change their lifestyle or to protect this organism, and there's some really cool stories. So you're going to open up the hippo analysis. That's all I'm going to say here. You will have some slides that are already kind of tailored to have you just fill in the blanks and with the information from your assigned episode. Okay, so you and your partner will work on your case study, and then you're going to compare notes with another group and teach each other about what you learned.